Hello everyone, and welcome to the Hidden Secrets channel. Today, I will tell you about cases in which pets unraveled the mystery when the police were at a dead end. Each story carries an interesting and truly surprising meaning. What impressed me most in today's series of mysterious cases was a smart parrot and a loyal dog. Let me know in the comments below what impressed you the most. Case number 1 took place in India. Uttar Pradesh is a state in northern India with over 241 million people. It is the most populous state in India and the most populous national subdivision in the world. In the western part of this state lies a city called Agra, located on the western bank of the Yamuna River, near the Ganges Plain. Tourism thrives here, and the city is home to one of the 7 wonders of the world. One day in February 2014, a crime occurred here. When the police investigation reached a deadlock, a parrot detective unexpectedly appeared and gradually unveiled the mystery of the case. The main character of the story is Vijay Sharma, 48 years old, the chief editor of a newspaper in the city of Agra. Vijay had a wife of the same age named Neelam Sharma. They had a grown daughter and a younger son. Vijay and his wife had a good relationship. In their family, the main source of income came from Vijay, while Neelam took care of the household and the children. Vijay was a hardworking man with excellent achievements, and he continuously advanced in his career. When they had some savings, the whole family moved into a larger house in the center of Agra. Their life was happy and peaceful. However, those days did not last long due to a tragic event that completely shattered their peaceful life. On February 20, 2014, it's a Thursday, Vijay received an invitation from a friend to attend a wedding 38 kilometers away from Agra. Vijay hoped that Neelam would accompany him, but she declined. Neelam loved animals very much. At home, she kept a dog and a parrot. She carefully prepared food for her pets. If she were to attend the wedding with her husband, she would have to spend at least a day traveling and celebrating, so she declined because she worried about the pets at home. Seeing that Neelam was determined to stay home, Vijay didn't insist. Vijay took both children with him and left Neelam alone at home. Late that night, after the wedding, Vijay and the children returned home. Because he had met many old friends, Vijay had drunk a lot and was staggering as he walked. His children had to help him get to the front door. When the eldest daughter opened the door and stepped into the house, the scene before her shocked her, and she screamed in horror. Seeing his daughter so frightened, Vijay sobered up slightly and looked inside the house. He was horrified to see the living room covered in blood and their beloved dog lying on the floor. The 2 children screamed in terror. Vijay frantically searched for his wife and found Neelam lying on the bathroom floor, her face no longer breathing. At that moment, Vijay and his 2 children were in unbearable pain. They deeply regretted leaving Neelam alone at home. The 3 of them knelt on the floor, sobbing. Their cries were so loud that neighbors heard them and rushed over to check the situation. Everyone was shocked by the scene inside Vijay's house. After experiencing that pain and despair, Vijay immediately called the police. After receiving the report, the Agra City Police quickly arrived at the scene. When they arrived, the investigative team saw people gathering around Vijay's house, gossiping anxiously, while the loud cries from inside the house continued. Upon entering the house, the police discovered a dog lying in the living room. Vijay was holding his wife, crying loudly with his 2 children. There was blood everywhere in the house, creating a terrifying scene. After forensic doctors examined the body, they found 14 stab wounds on Neelam. She had died from excessive blood loss. The estimated time of death was around noon that same day. All the wounds were irregularly shaped, indicating that Neelam had fiercely struggled with the assailant before dying. Neelam's beloved dog also had 9 wounds. At the scene, the police could not find the murder weapon. The entire house was in disarray, with items on the table knocked to the floor. After examining the blood traces at the scene, police confirmed that there were 3 different blood samples. One belonged to Neelam, another to the dog, and the third surely belonged to the murderer. That third blood sample was found near the dog's blood, suggesting the assailant had been bitten and wounded by the dog, leaving his blood at the scene. At the police's request, Vijay checked the household's valuables. It turned out that all the cash and precious belongings were gone. All the drawers were found closed, except for the one containing cash and valuables, which was open. The killer seemed to know exactly where the family stored their valuables. Police speculated that someone had broken in to steal and was discovered by Neelam, leading to a fight in the house. Seeing the owner in danger, the dog had rushed to attack the thief and was stabbed multiple times before the intruder killed Neelam. To uncover the truth, police first questioned Vijay, hoping to find someone with a grudge against his family. But Vijay stated that their family had no recent conflicts with anyone. He said that both he and his wife were kind people who were always polite and respectful toward others. Vijay truly couldn't think of anyone who held a grudge against them. On the day of the incident, he took the children to attend a friend's wedding, leaving Neelam home alone. Before he left, his wife showed no unusual behavior. Police questioned the neighbors and were told that around noon, they had heard the dog barking from Vijay's house. But this clue was not very helpful because the dog barked almost every day. This was normal for the scene. The investigators also did not find any fingerprints of the murderer. It seemed that the killer had premeditated the crime. There were no security cameras in the area where Vijay lived, and all leads were unworkable. The only viable evidence was the suspect's blood found at the scene. The police investigation was truly at an impasse. He was devastated by his wife's death. He became depressed and hopeless. He took an extended leave from work to stay with his children, fearing that the murderer might return and harm them again. As time, Vijay noticed a strange phenomenon. The parrot named Midhu, which his wife had raised, had stopped eating for many days. It was no longer active and rarely made any sounds. Midhu was a smart parrot. It often mimicked the voices of family members. Vijay noticed Midhu's unusual behavior and had a bold idea. Normally, Neelam placed Midhu's cage in the corner of the living room. It's possible that on the day of the crime, the parrot had witnessed the murderer attack Neelam. Midhu, being close to Neelam every day, might have seen something that left it deeply affected. Vijay released Midhu from the cage. He wondered how to prove his hypothesis. Vijay remembered that the police had once suspected that the killer might be someone they knew. Thinking of this, he began saying the names of people they were acquainted with to Midhu, but there was no reaction, until Vijay mentioned the name Ashu Sharma, and Midhu suddenly became restless, jumping up and flapping its wings nonstop. Vijay noticed this and repeated the name Ashu several more times. Amazing, Midhu's reaction became even more intense. Ashu was Vijay's nephew. He had previously stayed at Vijay's house for a while. Why would he do such a thing? Vijay immediately informed the police. However, the police thought Vijay was delusional, overwhelmed by grief over his wife's murder. Seeing that the police did not believe him, Vijay insisted and swore to the investigative team that his parrot definitely knew something. To prove it, he invited the police to his house and reenacted the scene. The police actually saw the parrot strongly react to the name Ashu, which they found very strange. However, a parrot's behavior could not be used as legal evidence to arrest Ashu. More proof was needed to charge him. Eventually, the police said they would now take Ashu's blood for testing. If it matched the sample found at the crime scene, he would be confirmed as the murderer. The police summoned Ashu and brought him in for questioning. During the interrogation, to their surprise, he quickly confessed to his cruel action. There was even a hint of regret on his face. Perhaps this criminal had begun to feel guilt for what he had done. Ashu admitted that he had planned the crime with a close friend. Their goal was to steal money from Vijay's house. Police also discovered many wounds on Ashu's body, all caused by Neelam's dog. When Vijay found out that the real killer was Ashu Sharma, he could not believe it. Ashu, his own nephew, had previously lived in Vijay's house while studying in Agra. Vijay had taken great care of him, often giving him money and helping him complete his education. Vijay never imagined that the one who plotted to kill his wife was his own nephew. Everyone in the family and extended relatives were shocked by this truth. According to Ashu's confession, he had disliked Neelam from the beginning and believed she was only pretending to be kind. He thought that when Vijay wasn't home, she became arrogant and overbearing. After Ashu graduated, Neelam stopped giving him money, and he had held a grudge ever since. He wanted to punish her. Because he had lived in Neelam's house for some time, he was familiar with their household. Ashu knew where the cash and valuables were kept. To execute the plan more smoothly, he involved a close friend. They discussed and decided to wait for the right moment to break into the house and steal, and then split the profits evenly. On February 20th, Ashu knew that Vijay's family would be out attending a wedding, leaving the house empty. This was a rare opportunity. Noon, he called his friend and went to Vijay's house to steal. However, while they were in the middle of stealing, Neelam and the dog suddenly returned from a neighbor's house. Ashu and his accomplice were shocked and froze in place. He hadn't expected Neelam to skip the wedding. She had only gone next door to chat. Realizing her nephew had broken in to steal, Neelam cursed Ashu as an ungrateful traitor, and a scuffle broke out. Ashu confessed that at first, he had no intention to kill her, but her excessive yelling and the dog's sudden attack left him terrified. Afraid that the dog's barking would draw neighbors' attention, Ashu and his accomplice pulled out a knife and stabbed the dog repeatedly, then stabbed Neelam multiple times. After committing the crime, they took the cash and valuables and quietly fled. But what he didn't expect was that the parrot in the corner of the living room had witnessed everything. Vijay repeatedly said Ashu's name, and the parrot remembered it, becoming the key to solving the case. After Ashu confessed, the police arrested his accomplice, Ronnie Massey, a 23 years old, the same age as Shu. He too confessed to everything. At the trial, on March 24th, Special Judge Mohammad Rashid sentenced Ashu Sharma and Ronnie Massey to life imprisonment and fined them 72,000 rupees. At the trial, Neelam's daughter and Vijay reacted angrily. She said her parents would not be satisfied with the sentence. She said, "My parents wanted Ashu to receive the death penalty, and our family will appeal to the Supreme Court to give him the harshest punishment." Half a year later, Mittu also fell ill and died. After his wife's death, Vijay became deeply depressed. His health declined day by day. Every time he saw a picture of the parrot, he became emotional and could not hold back tears. Mittu was the last hope his wife had left him. In 2020, Vijay unfortunately contracted COVID-19 and passed away not long after. Because of the greed and selfishness of his nephew Ashu Sharma, a once joyful and warm family was completely destroyed. They were also the people who had cared for and helped him a great deal. Through this case, I learned that sometimes just a single harsh word can awaken the evil nature of a criminal. Luckily, in this, the parrot Mittu remembered the murderer who killed its owner and helped bring him to justice. Parrots are recognized as intelligent birds with the memory of a 3 to 6 years old child. These animals are not only smart but also skilled at mimicking human language, other bird calls, and even the sounds of mammals. Studies show that a parrot's intelligence is not only genetic but also related to how it's raised by humans. For example, if a parrot lives with a skilled trainer, its intelligence naturally becomes higher. With proper training and meticulous care, they can mimic human speech and even think. So it's not surprising that parrots can remember a murderer's face and help solve crimes. World parrot-assisted investigations are not uncommon. Another criminal case involving a parrot also happened in the state of Michigan, USA. Let's follow the second case solved with the help of a parrot. On May 12, 2015, a 40-year-old woman named Keith was living in a small village in Michigan. The village had very few residents because it mostly rugged forested terrain, and many people had chosen to live on the plains instead. Many wild animals took shelter in this area, so every local household owned a gun, partly for personal safety and partly to satisfy their hunting hobby. On the morning of May 12th, while Keith was walking through the forest, she accidentally heard several gunshots. She wasn't surprised by this since such sounds were common in the area. Near her house lived Martin Durham and his wife Glenna Durham. They were both 45 years old that year. After returning from her walk that morning, Keith stopped by Martin's house to chat with Glenna. Because a few families lived nearby, everyone was quite close. When Keith arrived, she found their house closed. She knocked a few times, but no one answered. Keith didn't think much of it and assumed they were not home. However, she was puzzled. She had just heard gunshots nearby. Could it be that both of them went hunting at 3:30 p.m.? She returned later to Martin's house, but the door was still shut. When she called both their phones, she could hear them ringing inside the house. This struck her as strange, so Keith tried turning the door handle, and to her surprise, the door wasn't locked. But when she stepped inside, what she saw shocked her. The living room was in complete disarray. Items were scattered all over the floor, as if a fight had broken out. Her instincts told her something was terribly wrong. As she cautiously walked further inside to see what had happened. When she reached the bedroom door, Keith was horrified to find Martin and Glenna lying motionless, their bodies covered in blood. Terrified and unable to look any longer, she ran out of the house. It was the most horrifying scene she had ever witnessed in her life. Once she calmed down, Keith called the police. Upon receiving the report, police quickly arrived at the scene. In the bedroom, they found Martin and Glenna lying motionless. Examination. Martin had been shot 5 times, with 1 bullet piercing his heart. Next to his body, 5 spent shell casings were found. His wife's face was covered in blood, with 2 graze wounds on her right ear. On the bed, police found 2 shell casings but no gun at the scene. The entire house was a mess, possibly from a struggle or a robbery. The chaotic scene suggested the intruder might have been searching for valuables. On the floor, they found a safe key. Using it to open the safe, police only found $200 inside. Upon examining Glenna's body more closely, police were surprised to find that she was still barely breathing. She was rushed to the nearest hospital for emergency care. Luckily, she survived, as the bullets had missed any vital organs. Martin, however, wasn't so fortunate. He had passed away. Martin's time of death was estimated to be around 8 a.m. on May 12th. After investigating the scene, police initially suspected this was a robbery homicide, but they found it odd. The family wasn't wealthy, so why would they be a target? No fingerprints other than those of Martin and Glenna were found throughout the house. Since Keith was the one who discovered the scene, she was questioned. And Keith said that during her walk that morning, she heard gunshots around 8 a.m. She initially assumed someone was out hunting and didn't think much of it. And she also told police this case didn't seem like a robbery, as there was only one road leading to the house, and she had seen no one come or go while she was out. Moreover, the family wasn't affluent, so it didn't make sense for a thief to target them. And even if they did, escaping would have been nearly impossible due to the single road in and out. To get to the bottom of things, police began investigating Martin and Glenna's background and relationships. That's when they discovered a turbulent love story between them. Martin and Glenna had played together as children and were close like siblings. As they grew older, they developed romantic feelings for each other. Many believed the couple would be happily married, but that wasn't how things turned out. While dating, they experienced disagreements and had different life goals, which led to a breakup at age 23. After the breakup, Glenna married another man and had 2 children. Martin, heartbroken, married a woman named Christina Keller and had 3 children. Martin was a free spirit. Even after becoming a father of 3, he still frequently went out partying. Fortunately, his gentle wife Christina eventually convinced him to change. Martin decided to settle down, ward, and support his family. Things were going well until tragedy struck. Martin was involved in a serious car accident on his way home from work. Though he survived thanks to timely medical intervention, his body was severely injured. Worse, when he regained consciousness, he had lost all his memories. Martin couldn't remember his wife, his children, or their life together. Eventually, the marriage ended. Martin, still a responsible father, gave Christina all his assets and kept custody of the children. He moved with them to the countryside, buying a small home with insurance money and relying on loans to get by. Because of lingering effects from the accident, Martin had to attend physical rehabilitation daily. His 3 children, understanding and well-behaved, rarely caused trouble. At this time, Glenna had also divorced her husband. When she heard from a mutual friend about Martin's hardships, she felt sympathy and reached out. Despite losing many memories, Martin still remembered Glenna. Her regular support rekindled their old feelings, and they got back together. Thanks to Glenna's care, Martin's health improved quickly. But just when they planned to marry, Martin's condition suddenly worsened. He had to use a wheelchair and could no longer care for himself, so his children went to live with their biological mother. Glenna, however, stayed by Martin's side, and she quit her job to look after him full-time. They survived on monthly government support. Glenna also suffered from severe depression and needed daily medication. Martin's monthly treatments added to their financial strain. Despite advice from others to leave him, Glenna never considered it. Eventually, they married. Life wasn't easy, but they stuck together. With time, Martin's condition improved. He could perform light activities. Just as life seemed to return to normal, the tragic incident occurred. Police interviewed Martin and Glenna's neighbors. Everyone said they were kind and friendly. Keith shared more. Martin and Glenna had been married for 10 years. Both had children from previous marriages and occasionally argued. Sometimes, Glenna even stormed out in anger, but there had never been any physical fights. From the clues collected, police concluded the crime was unlikely a robbery. No signs of forced entry were found, and they had no enemies. Ruling out revenge, the investigation seemed to hit a dead end. Then Glenna's brother gave police a valuable tip. He said that although the couple wasn't rich, they had an extra income besides the government support. After Martin's accident, doctors prescribed him powerful painkillers with controlled substances. Because of Martin's severe injuries, such drugs were legally prescribed. Glenna and Martin had allegedly sold some of the medications to local addicts at high prices. The brother suggested the murder could have stemmed from a drug dispute. However, police found no transactions or suspicious individuals linked to this. The day after the bodies were discovered, Martin's 3 children came to the house. There, they found 2 crucial pieces of evidence. Under the sofa in the living room, they found a .22 caliber Ruger handgun. They also found 3 letters on the floor addressed to Glenna's mother and children. In the letters, Glenna expressed regret for disappointing her loved ones and signed off with "Love you all." The letters didn't mention the shooting. Both the letters and the gun were handed to police. The gun matched the spent shell casings at the scene, confirming it as the murder weapon. However, no fingerprints were found. It had been wiped clean. But why was it hidden under the family's sofa? Handwriting analysis confirmed the letters were written by Glenna. Police began to suspect her. If the killer wanted both dead, why did Martin receive 5 deadly shots while Glenna was only grazed? Her injuries weren't life-threatening. Police shifted focus to the couple, especially Glenna. After deeper investigation, they discovered Glenna controlled the family's $4,000 monthly Social Security benefits. Martin, due to his brain injury from the 1990s car crash, was entitled to support. Glenna, as his caretaker, handled the finances but often mismanaged household expenses. Financial records showed she had spent nearly $70,000 on slot machines in the 2010s, exceeding their government income. Glenna's gambling addiction had devastated the family. Martin's mother revealed that a month before the murder, Martin found out their house was about to be repossessed. When he confronted Glenna, she claimed it was a bank error and promised to resolve it. But on April 28, 2015, a foreclosure notice appeared on their door. At this point, all suspicions pointed to Glenna. She had recovered in the hospital. When questioned, she denied shooting her husband and claimed to remember nothing. She said she couldn't recall writing the letters either. Glenna asked for more time, saying she would tell the police if her memory returned. Her selective amnesia seemed suspicious, something more common in novels than real life. Lacking solid evidence, police couldn't yet charge her. Then Martin's ex-wife, Christina Keller, came forward with a lead. She had taken custody of Martin's African gray parrot after his death. A month later, she noticed the bird repeating parts of a man-woman argument, including "no, don't shoot," and "get over here." Christina realized the bird had likely witnessed the murder. She tried asking the bird questions. When she mentioned Martin's name, the parrot became excited, flapped its wing, and began switching voices, mimicking Martin and Glenna. Christina recorded this and sent the video to a local news station. The story quickly gained attention. At first, police were skeptical, but after witnessing the bird's behavior firsthand, they believed Glenna might be the killer. They questioned her again and showed her the parrot video. A search of Glenna's phone revealed that on May 12, 2015, from 3:32 to 4:48, she had searched 5 times for information about Ruger pistols, the same model found at the scene. Her phone also sent a message to her mother, "I love you. I'm sorry." Faced with the evidence, Glenna confessed. Her memory loss was fake. She had gambled away their money, had no way to pay for medication, and their house was about to be seized. When Martin found out, they argued. Desperation, Glenna shot Martin 5 times to silence him forever. She intended to die with him but got scared. Her hands shook as she fired 2 shots at herself, grazing her, and she passed out from the pain. When she awoke, Glenna decided to live. Too injured to flee, she wiped her prints off the gun, hid it under the sofa, covered herself with a blanket, and lay still. The case went to Michigan's Superior Court. Glenna was sentenced to life in prison for premeditated murder. In May 2nd, 01, her appeal was denied. Justice was served. The cases in India and the US were solved thanks to detective parrots, though they never appeared in court. But in this diverse world, there has been a real case where a pet testified. In 2005 in France, an elderly woman died suddenly at home. Her body was found hanging, making it look like suicide. Police initially ruled it a suicide, but her children disagreed. They believed it was murder staged as suicide. Due to the family's insistence, police continued investigating. Though they identified suspects, they had no evidence to arrest anyone. Then they noticed the woman's Dalmatian, Scooby, the pet her children had given her for company. Scooby had fallen into depression, refusing to eat or move. The family suspected the dog had witnessed something. Her son suggested letting Scooby identify the real killer, an idea that sounded absurd to police. Surprised, they agreed. When Scooby was brought near the suspects, he sniffed carefully, then suddenly barked furiously at one man, biting and refusing to let go. Police focused on that suspect. After thorough investigation, it turned out he really was the killer. 2 years later, during trial, Scooby appeared in court. As soon as Scooby saw the killer, he barked furiously, showing intense anger. The defense questioned whether bringing a dog to testify was absurd, but the judge ruled Scooby's recognition valuable. In another case, a cat also helped solve a murder. In 1994, a woman was killed in Canada. The main suspect was her ex-husband, but police lacked evidence. Investigating his house, they found 2 white cat hairs in his coat, but he only had black pets. Meanwhile, the victim had a white cat. If the hairs matched, it would prove he was at her house during the crime. DNA animal testing wasn't common at the time, but a geneticist agreed to help. The results confirmed the hairs came from the victim's cat. Combined with other evidence, the man confessed. Criminals may be cunning, but justice has many tools, sometimes even pet, to bring them down. That concludes today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and leave your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next episode of The Hidden Secrets. Goodbye.